We started our 10-week or 70-day tour of Europe on April 11th, flying from Detroit to Dublin with a switch of planes in Amsterdam. The country of Ireland is just slightly larger than the state of South Carolina, which means there are 39 states larger than the country of Ireland. Ireland has a population of about 5.1 million people, which is close to the population of Colorado. Oregon and Minnesota also have similar populations. It has only 58% of the population of New York City. These maps show the approximate route we travel in Ireland. The black route shows our 9 days of traveling by car, and the red line shows our last day traveling by train to Dublin, and then to Belfast in Northern Ireland. Approximately 1/4 of the people in Ireland live in Dublin, with a population of 1.2 million people. Molly Malone is a figure from Irish folklore who became one of the most well-known symbols of Dublin. She is often called the Tart with the Cart and is said to haunt the streets of Dublin to this day. She is celebrated with Dublin's own folk song and with her own statue.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone, as she wheeled her wheelbarrow through streets wide and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, and truth was no wonder, for so was her father and mother before, and they wheeled their wheelbarrow through streets wide and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She died of a fever, and no one could save her, so that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels her barrow through streets wide and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles.
A little history of Ireland. The Troubles. The entire island of Ireland was ruled by Britain until partition in 1922. The larger Irish Free State, which became independent, was predominantly Catholic. Northern Ireland, predominantly Protestant, remained part of Britain. In the 1960s, Northern Irish Catholics and others protested against widespread discrimination. After violent clashes between protesters and police, British troops arrived in 1969. Opposing parliamentary groups began carrying out bombings and killings. 30 years and over 3,500 deaths later, a peace agreement was reached in 1998. The cathedral you are in today was built around 800 years ago at a time of great change in Ireland. A new wave of settlers, called the Anglo-Normans, established themselves as a new ruling elite. They were excellent stonemasons and developed St. Patrick's Church into an impressive Gothic-style cathedral. Construction began in 1220, and the cathedral was consecrated on St. Patrick's Day in 1254. The church played a vital role in medieval life. As the largest building in Ireland, the cathedral was built to inspire awe and wonder in all who saw it. Unlike the open plan cathedral we see today, the building made use of a variety of smaller spaces thanks to internal divisions. This allowed for a more practical use of the space. These divisions remained in place until the 1860s. Jonathan Swift is best known as the author of the book Gulliver's Travels, but few know of his close relationship to the cathedral. Swift was an Anglican priest and dean of the cathedral from 1713 until his death in 1745. The pulpit he preached from is still preserved in the cathedral today. This is the Halfpenny Bridge. It received its name because it originally cost a halfpenny to walk across it. We started our time in Ireland by staying at the Brocken Court Hotel in Balbriggan, a small city about 20 miles north of Dublin. We spent those 3 days by spending 1 day in Dublin, 1 day in Balbriggan, and 1 day at Newgrange. Balbriggan is a great place to stay when visiting the Dublin area. It was a very friendly city of about 24,000 people. Brimore Castle was built in the 14th century and was built by the Norman Barnwell family, who lived in it until 1727. Ardurling Castle was built in 1738 by the Reverend Robert Taylor, not the actor, and it overlooks the Irish Sea. This was the first of several castles we visited in Ireland and later Germany. St. Peter and Paul Church was built in 1842. No, we are not at Stonehenge. Clark Griswold knocked that down in European Vacation. We are at an ancient monument called Newgrange, estimated to be about 5,600 years old. It could be that old, but I have my doubts. After all, Adam would still have been living then and would have been about 800 years old. It is estimated that it is about 1,000 years older than Stonehenge. It consists of a large circular mound with an inner stone passageway and several smaller mounds. It was a burial site and probably a site for religious rituals. It is regarded as the great national monument of Ireland. We are on our way to Kilkenny Castle. Along the way, I wondered, where are John Deere tractors manufactured? John Deere tractors are mostly made in the United States, especially Waterloo, Iowa, and East Moline, Illinois. However, they are also made in Mexico, Brazil, Germany, Argentina, Finland, France, India, the Netherlands, and China. This 6170R tractor was probably made in Mannheim, Germany, but it could have been made in Waterloo. We have arrived at Kilkenny Castle in Kilkenny, Ireland, which was built in 1260 by the Normans. The castle is in its original 13th century condition. It was vitally important for the town's defense, with its 4 large circular towers and massive ditch, which only a small part remains today. are now at Blarney Castle, home of the Blarney Stone. The current castle was built around 1446. The original wood castle was built before 1200, but was destroyed. It was replaced by a stone castle around 1210, and it was destroyed around 1446 when the current one was built. Unlike Kilkenny Castle, it is mostly in ruins, with just bare rooms to look at. However, the grounds are beautiful. The term Blarney, meaning begulling, but misleading talk, gained currency during the 16th century as the McCarthy of the day attempted to fend off the demands of Queen Elizabeth I. Legends about the stone's origins emerged, each as plausible as the next. It was said to have been the stone used by Jacob as a pillow when he dreamed of a ladder extending up to heaven with angels ascending and descending on it. The stone was brought from the Holy Land after the Crusades. The Blarney House. In 1874, Sir George Conway Coldhurst, 5th Baronet, decided to build a new family home. One of my first thoughts when I think of Ireland is the song 40 Shades of Green, written by Johnny Cash. Ireland certainly has several shades of green throughout the country. As we look at some Irish scenery, let's listen to an Irishman, Danny O'Donnell, sing about it.
I close my eyes and picture the emerald of the sea, from the fishing boats at Dingle to the shores of Dundee. I miss the river Shannon and the folks at Skibbereen, the moorlands and the meadows with their 40 shades of green. But most of all I miss a girl in Tipperary town, and most of all I miss her lips as soft as eiderdown. Again I want to see and do the things we've done and seen, where the breeze is sweet as Shalimar and there's 40 shades of green. I wish that I could spend an hour at Dublin's churning surf. I'd love to watch the farmers drain the bog and spit the turf, to see again the thatching of the straw the woman gleam. I'd walk from Cork to Larne to see 40 shades of green. But most of all I miss a girl in Tipperary town, and most of all I miss her lips as soft as eiderdown. Again I want to see and do the things we've done and seen.
While on our way to the Berea Peninsula, we passed some beautiful and interesting places, one of which was Molly Gallivan's. In the early 1840s, Molly Gallivan was widowed with 7 small children. About the same time, a new mountain pass was built between Glenterriff and Kenmore, the road known as Caha Pass. The road linked Cork with South Kerry and soon brought tourists to enjoy the spectacular scenery along the way. To supplement her meager income from the small farm, Molly started a cottage industry, selling hand-spun woolens, Aran sweaters, and local crafts. She also sold her illegal homemade whiskey that was known as Molly's Mountain Dew. The original college is still operating without the whiskey by Steve and Frances O'Sullivan.
The moonlight on the Shannon is a sight to see. The sunlight on Killarney's lakes means home, sweet home to me. Of nature's many blessings on this emerald isle, I'd give them all to see again your smiling Irish eyes.
Passing through a picturesque little town called Elise.
To sleep beneath the mystic hills in dear old Donegal, or walk the shores of Erin and hear the seagulls cry. But most of all, to look into your lovely Irish eyes, to hear again those Shandon bells ringing heavenly beside the laughing waters of the lovely Lee, or listen to the ocean and the wind that sighs, but most of all to see again your smiling Irish eyes. In dreams I see your angel face that aches my lonely heart. The memory when I told you we would have to part. I can't forget that morning when we said goodbye. I can't forget those teardrops in your Irish eyes. I love you and I need you, my lovely Irish eyes. If you ever go across the sea to Ireland, be it only at the closing of your day, you can sit and watch the moon rise over Claddagh and see the sun go down on Galway Bay, just to see again the ripple of the trout stream, the women in the meadows making hay, or to sit beside a turf fire in a cabin and watch the barefoot gossams at their play. Oh, the breezes blowing o'er the sea from Ireland are perfumed by the heather as they blow. lands, digging pretty, speak a language that the strangers do not know. Oh, the strangers came and tried to teach us their ways. They scorned us for being what we are, but they might as well go chasing after moonlight